Hello, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to do the mid-year book tag. I've been so excited to see everyone's mid-year book tag and I'm so excited to do it myself. So let's get into it. Now, I am aware that my lights do not go down to this shelf right here. It's because I don't know if I love or hate them. So I don't want to put another row until I decide if I'm going to leave them or take it off. I feel like I like that the light that they bring to the shelves, but it looks a little too busy to me, so they may not be here next video. Trying to decide. So I have read 69 books. It's going to be 70 by the end of today, but for right now it's 69. I have given 11 5 stars, and it's interesting looking back at my Goodreads. I want to change some of them. Just a few. I want to give a few more 5 stars, but we'll talk about it. So my top 5-star reads are Carrie, Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I loved that book and I think about it all the time. I thought it was just such a unique book because it's about sports, and I've never read a sports book and didn't know if I was going to love it. And it was like watching a sporting event. It was so exciting and made me feel so very interesting. It made me feel so alive and competitive, and I loved it. And I really liked that Carrie was very unlikable. She was not, we just liked her a lot, and I liked that. The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. This was a 5-star that I keep thinking about, that I cannot wait to, I can't wait to continue this series. And I just read this and I had such a fun time reading this, and I'm I want all the editions. I feel very excited to be in this world, this very cool world. And yeah, this is a 5-star, and I just feel like they're just gonna get better. The Great Alone by Kristin. I think about this book so much. I feel like this book opened up my, the world of historical fiction again for me, because I used to read a lot of historical fiction when I was younger. And after reading this, I'm wow, I feel like I have just been avoiding this genre for years, because in my mind, historical fiction is only the 1800s, or just women wearing really big dresses, and I don't like Pride and Prejudice. That's where my mind goes with historical fiction, and I'm so wrong. And this book made me just want to read every book she's ever published. So good. I'll forever talk so well about that book. And then another book that I gave 5 stars that I think about often and I really do want in my collection, that really stood out to me when I was looking at all my books, trying to decide my top 4. I was going to make it 3, but I'm going to make it 4, is How High We Go in the Dark. This book was very unique because it was split up into a bunch of short stories that were all connected. It was very dark. I feel like some of them did not even make sense, but they were not really supposed to make sense. I feel like it was such a well-written book. And I feel like it still kind of baffles me now, how interesting that book was and how sad it was. And it was interesting how it showed me short stories all connecting one story and how that can work. I think the writing kind of blew my mind with this book. And it's one of those books that makes you really think. And the end was what? And I've already spoken about this book, but it's just, there's a lot of death. There's a lot of grief. It's just an insane book. And I just think it was so well written. I kind of want to give an honorable mention to a book that I did not give 5 stars to, but I think about all the time, and that is Circe by, I didn't write the author's name. Well, there's gonna be a picture. Something Miller. I want to reread this book, and I think I want to reread it this year, because I want to see if I'm going to give it 5 stars upon a reread, because I think about it all the time. I can't believe I gave it 3 stars. I feel like that's really weird. I think the longer I've sat away from this book, the more I appreciate how beautiful it was and how exciting it was, and the discussion of motherhood. It was a really, really good book, and I'm like dying to reread it and to have a physical copy of it. So I think it will be a 5-star when I reread it, just because I think about it like daily. The best sequel that I've read so far was Morning Star by Pierce Brown. I love his writing. His writing is like home to me. I feel like there are a few authors where I feel like I could pick up a book that I haven't read in so long, or continuing a series that I haven't read in a while, and it just feels like, like I'm home. I'm back where I belong in this world. And his writing does that for me, and I just love this book. I am very curious to see what happens after this, where it goes, and I just love his books. The books I had the most fun reading were The Compound by Aisley Rawle. This also got a 5-star for me. This was, I believe, my first 5-star of the year. This just felt like I was watching a reality TV show that was like Survivor, Lord of the Flies, and then like a bit of a romance reality TV show, like Love Island, I think is what it's compared to. It was so entertaining. I could not stop reading that book. The competitiveness of it, the like, how far would you go to get what you want? How far would you go for things? And what happens to people when like things are taken away, when comfort's taken away? I thought it was brilliant. I really enjoyed that book a lot. I feel like I don't hear people talk about this book. It came out this year, I believe. It's a new release, and I was just surprised. I thought like this was so much fun. Everyone's going to talk about it, and I was like, I feel like no one's talking about this book. But I really enjoyed it. And I don't know, maybe it's not everyone's like cup of tea, but I thought it was so fun. Also, very different vibe. The Call of Cthulhu and Other Weird Stories by H.P. Lovecraft. This was so much fun because it's divided up into, I believe, 12 short stories. They're all spooky horror stories, and I had so much fun reading a few each day. And then I was like, oh, tomorrow I get to read this story. And I would finish one and be like, okay, what's the next one about? I just had such a good time with this book. And like knowing that they were all going to be little horror stories, and there were a few that I feel like I didn't fully understand. I was like, there's like a message here that I'm not getting, and then I would look it up and be like, oh wow, that's actually super dark. And I just thought this was so fun. It was such a good digestible classic that is perfect if you love horror, like little spooky reads. I know this like looks intimidating, but it's broken up into a bunch of stories. And I know there are different editions of this. This specific edition, I just love. I love the red spine. I loved picking this up I feel like I read this a lot in like the early morning and seeing what spooky story I was going to read that day. So I had so much fun reading this. And the other book that I feel like I just had such a good time with, I did not give it a 5-star. And if you watch my reading vlog for it, you'll know why, but Of Blood and Fire by Ryan Cahill. I think it's Cahill. I don't know if I've ever had so much fun annotating a book. This was so much fun. This is a new fantasy, adult fantasy with like dragons, elves, dwarves. I know I'm missing one. Like giants, mages. I'm very curious to continue his books. I am considering potentially reading the second one in August. That's what I'm thinking. I'm starting to kind of line up books that I want to potentially read in the next couple months. And I do want to continue this series because I do think this author's going to blow up on social media. His books got picked up and they're being changed. which is so sad because the original covers, this is the indie edition, they're so beautiful. But I know that some of the writing is going to be changed. I don't know how much, but regardless, I want to continue with this series, and I had so much fun vlogging this and annotating it and really like discussing my thoughts on his writing and where I think this might go. Also, my sister read it, so it was really fun to like discuss this book with her. I do think this is going to be a really good series, so this was the other book that I had a lot of fun reading. My worst book was the last book that I read, and that is Fear the Flames by Olivia Darling. I can't believe how bad this book was. I thought, and okay, I bought a lot of romanticies when I thought romanticy is my genre. I'm a romanticy girly. I am not. So I'm trying to get through them, hoping to find a gem. This was such trash. I expected this to potentially be better than Fourth Wing. No. Fourth Wing was a lot better than this, I think. And I mean, I know it's been a while since I've read Fourth Wing, but this was just... ugh. This was a lot spicier, and all the pet names. Like, I know that... not Ray Sand. Whoa, what's his name? Oh, I don't remember his name. The guy in Fourth Wing, he calls Violet Violence. I know that there are pet names in Fourth Wing and in a lot of romanticies, but sometimes they're just... he calls her so many different things. And I was just like, just call her by her name. I just thought it was so bad. I expected... okay, I think there are going to be way more dragons in book 2, but I expected just a lot more dragons in book 1 and not just this guy who's just like, you know, perfect. And oh my gosh, it was so gross. I had such a hard time finishing this. I was like, I'm going to finish it. You're not DNFing it. You used an audible credit on it, so I finished it, but oh my god, I thought this was terrible, and I'm going to sell this indie edition. When, I don't know, but I'm not keeping this book. My biggest disappointments of the year so far were Silver Shard. I don't have any of these. I just gave them, or I just sold them to Half Price Books. But Silver Shard, The Trial of the Sun Queen, and The Fifth Wave. Silver Shard felt like a whole other author wrote that third book to a series that I loved 2 years ago. Trial of the Sun Queen was just... how in the world did that get published? The trials were terrible. It was not exciting at all. I don't know. Book 1 and book 2, I can't believe people are actually reading those books. Like, I think the 4th just came out. I'm not a very big romanticy person, but there are better romanticies that still have, you know, the romance, but have better stories. The storyline in book 1 and book 2 were very lame, and I was really disappointed because I thought I was going to love them. Granted, I thought they were YA fantasy, not adult romanticy. When I just didn't do any research when I bought them. I just thought like, oh, I know these covers, everyone loves them. I'm learning that just because everyone loves a book does not mean I'm going to love it. And The Fifth Wave. The Fifth Wave was just too young for me, but I thought like this is going to be a great YA series for me, YA sci-fi, and it just read too young. And I feel like I don't have that issue very often. And I think it's because it's YA in like our world. So they're like high school age, they've had like high school drama. If it's like YA in a fantasy world, it doesn't bother me. But if it's like high school drama, I don't want to read it. Some anticipated releases are Songs of the Dead by Brandon Sanderson. This looks really interesting. There's like magic with music and color. And it's a collaboration with an author I don't know of, but it actually doesn't have great reviews, and I'm surprised. I still want to try it though. I would like to try this book. Goodreads doesn't really mean anything. The Burning Side, I know everyone's already read this and said it was really good. Yesteryear, I want to read Yesteryear so bad. I have like 12 more weeks on my Libby to wait for it. and The Unknown by Riley Sager. Habits of the Sea, I know that one like got picked up, and like you can't really, I don't think you can buy it on Amazon anymore. Yeah, I had it in my cart, and now like you can't buy it, or you have to buy a certain edition. You have to buy a hardcover. I don't know. Habits of the Sea, I really want to read. There Is No Antimemetics Division. Oh, I wish I would have bought the indie edition when it was available. Now it's the new edition, which is still cool, but the indie edition looked better. I'm really excited to read that book. Sid Bookworm read it and said it was really cool, like one of the most unique books she's ever read, something like that. And The Unknown by Riley Sager. It's going to come out on my birthday. I thought it would be really cool if I am around a bookstore during my birthday, if I bought that. I love Riley Sager. I have only not read his last book, the one on the train, With a Vengeance, because Riley Sager let me down with his last book, and I know this one would have let me down. I did not want to read a train murder mystery. I feel like that's been so overdone, and I was like surprised that he wrote that, and I feel like everyone thought it was not very good. So, but apparently this one is supposed to be good. And I there are like 5 women that died in the 1920s on an island or during a retreat, something like that, and then it's like jumping to the future and it's like happening again. That's all I read, and then I stopped. So yeah, I feel like this year I've been looking more at the new releases than any other year, and it gets me excited to see what's coming out and what everyone's loving and talking about, and I just need to get to them. I need my Libby to make them available to me. Some personal goals for the rest of the year. I want to reach 100 books for the year, which I think is very doable. I'm 22 books ahead of schedule. Initially, I wanted to give myself like 7 books ahead of schedule in case I read like a super long book like The Count of Monte Cristo so that I could like not fall behind. And then I just had a few months of reading a ton of books, and now I'm 22 books ahead of schedule, which is really cool. I would love to reach 200 subscribers on this channel. I mean, I would love to reach 1,000. Maybe I should just say 1,000 and like not aim low. But yeah, okay, let's say 1,000. I put 200, but I'd love 1,000. Staying consistent with not just this channel, but all of my channels. I have 3, and also TikTok, Instagram. I'm trying really hard to work on all of those platforms, and I just want to try to stay consistent with that. And I want to finish my office. I feel like I've been in this office a long time and it's still not how I want it. Like where like my reading chair, where my desk is, how my books look. I want to like really try this summer. It's kind of like a summer goal to try to get my office space perfect or close to perfect, because this is where I spend so much time and it's where I film, and I just want to feel more comfortable in here. So that's my last goal. This was so much fun talking to you guys. I've just enjoyed watching everyone's videos, just rambling on about their mid-year tags. So I hope you enjoyed watching. If you don't know what to comment down below, comment the book that you had the most fun reading so far. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.